They say the truth always finds its way to the surface. And in the unforgiving age of social media, that truth can come crashing down like a tidal wave, sudden, relentless, and without mercy. That's what happened to Cierra Ortega. Once basking in the sun-drenched glamour of Love Island USA, she now finds herself in the shadow of a reckoning. Only days ago, she was just another name on the list of contestants. Another hopeful romantic under the glow of reality TV lights. But today, her name has become something more, something heavier. It carries the weight of controversy, of accountability, of apology. Her exit from the villa wasn't planned. It wasn't a dramatic recoupling twist. It was real life crashing into a fantasy world. And the reason? It came not from within the villa, but from the digital archives of her past. Screenshots surfaced, old Instagram posts and messages allegedly bearing her name, her voice, her words. Words that used a racial slur. Words directed toward Asian communities. Words that mocked, that dehumanized, that cut deep. The backlash was instant, and deserved. A storm of outrage swept through social media. Not just because of the words, but because of what they represented. A pattern far too familiar. A wound that never fully heals. She was removed. Swiftly. Quietly. Without fanfare. But the silence couldn't last. On July 9, Cierra Ortega sat down. No producers. No edits. No romantic soundtrack. Just a camera, a sweater with the word, empathy, and a truth that could no longer be avoided. She spoke. And as she spoke, she trembled. Her words came slowly. Carefully. But they came. To anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, she began, her voice weighted with shame, but most importantly, to the entire Asian community, I am deeply, truly, honestly, so sorry. There was no defiance, no distraction, no PR spin, just a painful, awkward truth that had waited too long to be faced. She admitted what so many fail to admit, ignorance. She confessed that when she used those slurs, she didn't understand their history, their harm, their pain. But she didn't stop there. I had no idea that the word held as much pain, as much harm, and came with the history that it did, she said. Or I never would have used it. She tried to explain, but she didn't excuse. And perhaps most importantly, she acknowledged what so many try to deny, that intent does not erase impact. Intent doesn't protect from consequences. Intent doesn't heal trauma. Intent doesn't rewrite history. And now, in the wreckage of her reality TV dream, she is learning that in the hardest way. Because this is no longer about Love Island. It's not about roses and rivalries. It's about racism. It's about responsibility. It's about what we carry forward, and what we choose to leave behind. Cierra Ortega was 25 years old when the world turned its gaze upon her with unforgiving clarity. She is not the first to be consumed by her past, and she won't be the last. But she might be one of the few to publicly admit that ignorance hurt people. And that's not nothing, but it's also not enough. Because apologies, no matter how tearful, do not guarantee redemption. They are only the first step. The road forward is long. For her, for the people she hurt, for those who continue to see themselves mocked and minimized in everyday language. Cierra Ortega must now do more than speak. She must listen. She must learn. She must show, with actions, that her remorse is real. The cameras have stopped rolling, but the real story has just begun. And we, those watching from the outside, must ask ourselves, what does accountability really look like? Is it a 5-minute video? A sweater that says, empathy? A tearful apology on Instagram? Or is it change? Change. That doesn't come easy. Change that means facing your own reflection and refusing to look away. This story is no longer about a girl on a dating show. It's about something much bigger. It's about the people whose identities have been ridiculed for generations. It's about the pain of being caricatured, mocked, or dismissed, by celebrities, by influencers, by classmates, by strangers. It's about seeing your culture turned into a joke and knowing that somewhere, someone is still laughing. It's about the courage to admit you were wrong, and the discipline to never be that wrong again. Cierra Ortega has taken her first public step. Now the world waits for the next. But more than that, the Asian community, and all communities that have endured casual racism disguised as just words, deserve more than just a moment. They deserve movement. They deserve transformation, not performance. They deserve dignity, not damage control. Cierra Ortega's journey will continue. Whether it's on a public stage or in private, only time will tell. But what happens next will not be about cameras. It will be about character. And that is the reality show we should all be watching.